Well, welcome councillors, Chief Executive Officer, General Managers, Executive Staff and those in the gallery, and also particularly today those watching via live stream to this, the ordinary meeting of Council. There is no apologies for today's meeting, and I'll move straight into the acknowledgements. So as a council and as a community, we acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land, their elders past, present and emerging. We also acknowledge those Australians who have given the ultimate sacrifice and service to our country and their families. First part is the minutes and the confirmation of the minutes. So I now move that the minutes of the special budget meeting of Council held on the 29th of June 2021 and the ordinary meeting also held on 29th of June 2021 be taken as read and confirmed. Can I have a seconder? Seconder, Councillor Haberman. All those in favour? Those against? So moved. Next part is item C1. It's the declaration of conflicts of interest. I now invite councillors to declare any conflicts of interest in any items to be discussed at today's meeting. Councillor Honour. Thanks, Councillor.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. In relation to the G2 item, Christmas close down 2021, pursuant to section 150EQ of the Local Government Act 2009, I wish to inform the meeting that I have a declarable conflict of interest. The nature of the conflict of interest is that three of my family members work at council, and this item discusses the shutdown for the Christmas period. And having stated this conflict of interest, I'm going to leave the room and not vote on the matter.
Thank you, Councillor Honour. As Councillor Honour has identified the conflict and has identified that he'll be leaving the room, there is no need to vote on the matter. I call Councillor Mitchell.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Pursuant to section 150EQ of the Local Government Act 2009, I wish to inform the meeting that I have a declarable conflict of interest in the matter known as G2, Christmas close down 2021. The nature of the declarable conflict of interest is that my husband, Dale Mitchell, is an employee of council, and as a result of my declarable conflict of interest, I will be leaving the room while the discussion takes place and the vote takes place. Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Mitchell. As Councillor Mitchell has identified the type of conflict and has chosen to leave the room, there is no need to vote on that matter at all. Are there any other? Councillor Barnes.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I wish to inform the meeting that I have a perceivable declarable conflict of interest in the matter of item G4, Delegations Register Review. The nature of the declarable conflict of interest arises from an administrative complaint lodged by me following a decision to deny me access to a copy of a ratepayer-funded report of council. As difficult as this process has been, it is consistent with the values and transparency that the community should expect from any elected representative. I can advise that the legal advice provided to me has confirmed that I have no personal gain or pecuniary declarable interest involved in this agenda item, and this remains my personal belief. Notwithstanding this, I intend to leave the meeting while the matter is considered and voted on, being mindful of the relentless and ongoing complaints and intimidation that I've experienced over the past 3 years and the resulting impacts on my health and especially that of my wife.
Thanks, Councillor Barnes. Councillor Barnes has identified his conflict in relation to item G4. G4, Greg? G4, and has stated that he'll be vacating, leaving the room. As that has been identified, there is no need to vote on the matter. Any other councillors, any conflicts of interest of any items here today? No. Right, so the first item today, it's item E1. It's from the Strategic Projects and Economic Development section, and it is a Memorandum of Understanding with Luganville Municipal Council, Vanuatu, and the Sister City Advisory Committee. I now move that the Mayor be authorised to enter into a Memorandum of Understanding with Luganville Municipal Council, Vanuatu, and Bundaberg Regional Council, Australia. Can I have a seconder, please? Seconder is Councillor Haberman. So councillors and those that are in the gallery and those that are on live stream, both in this state, interstate, it's a great privilege to have this motion before council. This item relates to a proposed MOU between Bundaberg Regional Council and the Luganville Municipal Council on the island of Espiritu Santo. Luganville is the second largest city in Vanuatu, with a population of almost 20,000 people. Greetings to people watching on the live stream, including visitors from Vanuatu, Sydney, Canberra and across Queensland. If Council endorses the resolution here today, it will be a historic occasion. There is currently no sister city arrangement between communities in Vanuatu and in Australia. Luganville and Bundaberg have much in common to share. Beautiful coastline, tourism and horticulture, to name but a few. We also have differences in culture and heritage to share and learn from each other. Here in Bundaberg, we're proud of our First Nations people, whose ancient culture will be shared with Luganville as we forge closer ties. We look forward to learning from the proud Nivan culture and embracing it for our people to learn and grow. The MOU outlines the objectives of our proposed sister city arrangement and what we both hope to achieve. This includes exchanging and promoting tourism, cultural understanding, horticulture, seasonal labour and education. It's my vision that Bundaberg will become the gateway to Australia for people from Luganville, all of Santo and other islands in the northern part of Vanuatu. I've spoken to the High Commissioner of Vanuatu in Australia, and he's very keen for seasonal workers to have a cultural induction program, which I hope to be provided here in Bundaberg. When people come to Bundaberg from Santo, they provide essential labour on our farms. When they return to Luganville, they have funds to support their families and invest in businesses that create jobs. The ties between our cities go back to the 1800s. There are many families in the Bundaberg region who trace their ancestry back to Luganville and the villages across Vanuatu and the Pacific. Working together, we can achieve positive change for both our communities. This morning I was presented a small timber carving of a turtle by one of the staff here, and certainly this carved timber turtle from Luganville actually is a great representation of the friendship and the partnership. Turtles and Mother Nature have had that closeness and unique sharing from coastline to coastline over thousands of years. And today, this turtle symbol represents the great continuity that has been going on before Bundaberg even existed, but also shows the friendship and the continuation of how we can build that friendship even further into the future. So councillors, I've had a second and I've spoken. Is there any other councillors that wish to speak against the motion? Oh, Councillor Barnes.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm not speaking against the motion, just a couple of questions. I think this is a great initiative, and I can attest to the fact that they're the friendliest people I've ever met. The only question I have is the report identifies 3 members of the Sister Cities Advisory Committee. Does that mean that other councillors may also nominate to be on that committee?
Thanks, Councillor Barnes, and thanks for your clarification in relation to that. The briefing outlines in the briefing reports the terms of reference for what's called the SAC, the Sister City Group, will be drafted and presented to a future meeting of council. And I believe that whilst we have this great opportunity with the collaboration between Luganville, Vanuatu and Bundaberg, that's certainly been a first for in Australia. We want to make sure that the formation of any other city-city sister city relationship in the future is brought about by hopefully all councillors being involved and participating in what will be a greater participation of community groups that we already have here in Bundaberg that are already doing work in Vanuatu, and the expansion of that. Thanks, Councillor. Yep. So any other questions from any other councillors here? No, I'll now put the item to the vote. All those in favour? Those against? No, so moved. Item E2 is from in relation to specialised supplier arrangements. I call Councillor Cooper.
Thank you, Mr Mayor, and welcome to everyone this morning and to the gallery. Thank you. The recommendation is that A, Council enter into an arrangement with Streeter Australia Proprietary Limited, ACN 604331937, Pendoli Environmental Proprietary Limited, ACN 0773768802, and Comlight AS VAT registration number NO9908644462. Being an international supplier from Norway for the supply of ongoing equipment supply project, maintenance and technical support for works delivered under the Reduced Urban Glow project, without being first inviting written quotes pursuant to section 235 in brackets B of the Local Government Regulation 2012, and B, the arrangement be made for the initial period from August 2021 to June 2023.
Thanks, Councillor Cooper. Can I have a seconder, please? Second is Councillor McLaughlin. Councillor Speaker, Mr Cooper, to speak further in relation to the motion.
Thanks, Mr Mayor. Council recently completed work on of the Reduced Urban Glow program, the scope of which was tied to funding under the Australian Government Smart Cities and Suburbs program. Major components of the project under the funding agreement include design, manufacture and installation of custom urban glow sensors and development of urban light modelling tools, procurement of specialty design light to reduce environmental impact and Bundaberg nesting turtle population, and smart technology integration with the pathways and street lights. The funding period with the Australian Government has officially ended, with all deliverables completed and funded acquitted. Following completion of the funded period, Council is looking forward to the next stage of the project, delivery to maintain, expand and build upon the completed to date. Critical to the next stage of this project is working with the following specialised suppliers, which I've named earlier, for the ongoing equipment supply and project maintenance of the technical support.
Thanks, Councillor Cooper. Any other councillors wish to raise any queries or speak against the motion? No. I'll put the matter to the vote. All those in favour? Those against? So moved. Next item is from the Operational Services side, item F1. I call Councillor Cooper.
Thanks, Mr Mayor. I recommend that the financial summary as at the 30th of June 2021 be noted by the Council.
Thanks, Councillor Cooper. Can I have a seconder, please? Second is Councillor Barnes. Councillor Cooper used to speak further in relation to the motion.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. In accordance with section 204 of the Local Government Regulation 2012, a financial report must be presented to Council on a monthly basis. The attached financial report contains the financial summary, associated commentary as at the 30th of June 2021.
Thanks, Councillor Cooper. Any other council wish to raise any queries or speak against the motion? No. I'll put the matter to the vote. All those in favour? Those against? So moved. The next item is item G1. I call Councillor Cooper.
Yes, the next one relates to show holidays. The recommendation is the application be made to the Office of Industrial Relations and for gazettal of the show holiday for Bundaberg region based on a postcode basis. 4660 and 4670, Thursday the 26th of May 2022, and 4671, Monday and 8th of August 2022. Monday prior to People's Day for the Brisbane exhibition. Further to the council's office and depots located at 4660 and 4670 and 4671 be closed on Thursday the 26th of May 2022, and all council employees in those locations have this day as their allocated show holiday.
Thanks, Councillor Cooper. Can I have a second? It's Councillor Mitchell. Councillor Cooper, you speak further in relation?
I think it's self-explanatory. It's a continuation of the tradition of the days that we take to show holiday, Mr Mayor. Obviously, the Gingin area is a separate identity in the process because of their show holiday falling at a different time, and the Gingin show holiday be allocated on Monday before the People's Day of the Brisbane exhibition held in August each year, and is a continuation of the traditional format.
Thanks, Councillor Cooper. Any other councillor wish to have any queries or speak against the motion? No, and I just add for Councillor Cooper's thanks for the motion, and with COVID and how that continues to affect us now, we're still unknown by the time the show comes around, but at least it'll be in place, and we certainly hope for the best. I'll now put the matter to the vote. All those in favour? Those against? So moved. Next item is item G2, Christmas close down. Councillor Mitchell and Councillor Honour has already identified that they will be leaving the room for this motion. Thanks, councillors. Councillor Cooper.
Thanks again, Mr Mayor. The recommendation that 1, Council's main administration office, service centre, libraries, arts centre and depots in brackets and other administrative and depots areas applicable end of brackets be closed for general business on the 3 work days over Christmas New Year period, namely Wednesday the 29th, Thursday the 30th and Friday the 31st of December, with offices and depots reopening on Tuesday the 4th of January 2022. 2, employees be offered the alternative of taking the subject 3 days from leave or a combination of leave and accrued rostered days off. 3, that the Chief Executive Officer advises the closure telephone numbers of council officers who will attend to critical business over those periods.
Thanks, Councillor. Can I have a seconder, please? Second is Councillor Bartel. Councillor Cooper, you speak further in relation to the motion?
Not greatly necessary, Mr Mayor. It's all self-explanatory over the time in the Christmas break. Happy for that to be as it stands.
So does any other councillors wish to raise any queries or speak against the motion? No. I'll put the matter to the vote. All those in favour? Those against? So moved. We'll just wait till the other councillors return to the meeting. Thanks, councillors. The next item is item G3. I call Councillor Cooper.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I recommend that the 2021 operational plan for quarter 4 be received and noted.
Thanks, Councillor Cooper. Seconder is Councillor Honour. Councillor Cooper, do you speak further in relation to the motion?
Thank you. In accordance with Section 174 of the Local Government Regulation 2012, the Chief Executive Officer must present a written assessment of Council's progress towards implementing the annual operating plan at a meeting held at regular intervals of not more than 3 months. Quarterly reports provide a process for monitoring and assessing Council's progress in meeting the goals of the corporate plan. The attached report highlights the achievements of Council over the past 3 months with most areas achieving their targets set. Each manager has provided comment in the report on the department and section's progress.
Thanks, Councillor Cooper. Any other councillors wish to raise any queries or speak against the motion? No. All those in favour? Those against? So moved. Next item of business is item G4. Councillor Barnes has identified that he'll be leaving the room. Thanks, Councillor Barnes. Item G4, I call Councillor Cooper.
Yes, Mr Chair. With the permission of the Chair, I wish to move this item in two separate parts.
Yep.
I move that the recommendation pursuant to section 257 in brackets 1 in brackets A of the Local Government Act 2009, the Register of Delegations, Mayoral version 2, be adopted by Council with the inclusion of a condition on the delegation numbers 1 and 2 to provide Council with briefed within 2 months after the exercise of the delegation.
Thanks, Councillor Cooper. Can I have a seconder, please? Seconder is Councillor McPhee. Councillor Cooper, you should speak further in relation to the motion.
Yeah, thank you, Mr Mayor. In accordance with section 257 of the Local Government Act 2009, in brackets the Act, Council may be, by resolution, delegate power under the Act or another Act to the Mayor or to the Chief Executive Officer. The power to make the decision under the legislation may be given to the local government or council or the entity, and it is expected that council exercise the powers. However, where a power is given in this way, council can delegate the powers to the Chief Executive Officer, except for the powers that require the resolution by the council. The Chief Executive Officer may then further sub-delegate to other positions of council, with the expectation where legislation specifically prohibits this. Section 257 in brackets 5 of the Act requires council to review all delegations to the Chief Executive Officer at least annually. The Local Government Association of Queensland, the LGAQ delegation register service is updated by King & Co solicitors during the 2 major Queensland parliamentary recesses, summer and winter, when they can be confident there will be no changes to the Act. Delegation authorities to the Mayor. Council previously adopted the Council to the Mayor register on the 20th of August 2019 and is due for review. Minor changes have been made to the existing wording for items 1, 2 and 6, and a previous delegation has been removed as the legislation section 276 in brackets 2 of the Local Government Regulation 2012 it references was repealed. The proposed version 2 of the register is attached for consideration.
Thanks, Councillor Cooper. Any other council wish to raise any queries or speak against the motion? No. All those in favour? Those against? So moved. Just wait till Councillor. Well, sorry, actually.
Part 2.
Yeah. He's gone, yeah, the whole G4, yeah. So, yeah, that's thanks for the clarification, CEO, because it's a conflict in relation to G4. So we'll continue with the second part of G4, the other delegations. Thanks, Councillor Cooper.
I move the recommendation pursuant to section 257(1) in brackets 1 in brackets B of the Local Government Act 2009 that the Register of Delegations Council to the Chief Executive Officer be varied to reflect the new and changed powers as outlined in the report and tabled as appended to this report.
Thanks, Councillor Cooper. Can I have a seconder, please? Seconder is Councillor McLaughlin. Thanks, Councillor McLaughlin. Councillor Cooper, you speak further in relation to the motion.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. The delegation to the Chief Executive Officer, the LGAQ provides an update in April 2021, which has been reviewed by the Governance and Legal Services and includes the following changes. New Register Code, Land Regulation 2020, natural conservation animals in bracket regulation 2020, and the natural conservation in brackets plants regulation 2020. Repeal legislation, nature conservation in brackets administration regulation 2017, natural conservation in brackets wildlife management and the brackets regulation 2006. Changes to substance to the existing register, Building Act 1975, Land Act 1994, Minerals and Energy Resources in brackets common provisions and end of brackets Act 2014, residential tenancies and rooming accommodation in brackets COVID-19 emergency response and the brackets regulation 2020. Transport Infrastructure Act 1994, Workers' Compensation and Rehabilitation Act 2003. The proposed amendments to this existing register of the delegations are provided in the attached documents.
Thanks, Councillor Cooper. Any other council wish to raise any queries or speak against the motion? No. All those in favour? Those against? So moved. Yeah. Thanks, Councillor Barnes. Next item is G6, I call G5, sorry. In relation to a supply arrangement, I call Councillor Cooper.
Thanks again, Mr Mayor. Yep. The recommendation is that A, Council enter into an arrangement with Aesthetic Proprietary Limited for the provision of Aesthetic My Data, Aesthetic My Valuer, Aesthetic SMP, Aesthetic Fleet and Predictor 5 without first inviting a written quote pursuant to section 235 in brackets B of the Local Government Regulation 2012 and B. This arrangement will be made for a period of 1 year commencing the 1st July 2021 to the 30th of June 2022.
Thanks, Councillor Cooper. Seconder is Councillor Honour. Thanks, councillors. So move Councillor Cooper, seconded Councillor Honour. Councillor Cooper, we speak further in relation to the motion.
Yeah, the Beckwith Council currently has an annual service arrangement with Aesthetic Proprietary Limited for the provision to update the annual service of Aesthetic My Data, Aesthetic My Valuer, Aesthetic SMP and Predictor 5, Aesthetic Fleet. Entering into an agreement with Aesthetic for a 1 year period provides Council flexibility to determine what best meets the business requirements when the alternative works management and fleet software installation in brackets Formbird have been finalised by Waste Services and Fleet and Trade. I think that virtually sums it up, Mr Mayor.
Councillor Cooper. Any other councillors wish to raise any queries or speak against the motion? All those in favour? Those against? So moved. Next item is item G6. I call Councillor Cooper.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. The recommendation is that 1, Council apply the exception contained in section 236 in brackets 1, in brackets A, in brackets I of the Local Government Regulation 2012 in brackets Queensland to the disposal of lot 33 on SP 210113 and 2. The Chief Executive Officer be authorised to enter into a contract of sale with the buyer and attend to all the items required to finalise the sale of the lot.
Thanks, Councillor Cooper. Can I have a seconder, please? Seconder, Councillor Learmont. Councillor Cooper used to speak further in relation to the motion.
Yes, Mr Mayor. I've just got to find my page. Thank you. Council is the freehold owner of a lot 33 on SP 210113 at 2 Heritage Drive, Heritage Oaks Estate, Childers. Council has previously resolved to sell the lot as it is surplus to Council's need. The lot was previously offered for sale by auction, at which the auction was not successful and the lot was passed in. Council has received an offer to purchase the lot. The offer to purchase the lot presented to Council is for market value.
Thanks, Councillor Cooper. Any other councillor wish to raise any queries or speak against the motion? No. All those in favour? Those against? So moved. Next item is G7 in relation to another sale.
Recommendation is that one, council apply the exception contained in section 236 in brackets 1 in brackets A in brackets I of the Local Government Regulation 2012 in brackets Queensland to the disposal of lot 2 on SP 298190, and 2, the Chief Executive Officer be authorised to enter into a contract of sale with the buyer and to attend to all items required to finalise the sale of the property.
Thanks, Councillor. Can I have a seconder, please? The seconder is Councillor McPhee. Councillor Cooper used to speak further in relation to the motion.
Thanks, Mr Mayor. Background, the council is the freehold owner of lot 2 on SP 298190 at lot 2 Buxton Road, Isis River, in brackets the property, and the brackets council was previously resolved to sell the property as it is surplus to council's need. The property was previously offered for sale by tender, at which the tender was not successful and the property was passed in. Council has received an offer to purchase the property. The offer to purchase the property presents to council is for market value.
Thanks, Councillor Cooper. Any other councillors wish to raise any queries or speak against the motion? No. All those in favour? Those against? So moved. The next item of business is item K1. It's a proposed acquisition. So I now move that Spring Lakes Resort Proprietary Limited be advised that Council is supportive of the proposal to acquire part of the Mountney Street Park as shown on Plan GC 19/401/PARK space 1, subject to the following conditions. 1. The developer is responsible for all necessary approvals and permits related to the proposal, as well as any costs associated with these. 2. Council be compensated for the loss of infrastructure contributions credited to the amount of $76,000, such amount to be paid to Council for trunk infrastructure or spent on embellishments to the park in accordance with a plan approved by Council, and that such commitment must be secured by way of an infrastructure agreement to be prepared by the proponent. And 3, the developer undertakes community consultation satisfactory to Council about the proposal before any formal agreement is made. Can I have a seconder, please? Seconder is Councillor Haberman. I'll just ask the CEO if he'd like to speak further in relation to the motion.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Councillors might recall we actually looked at that site, I think, early last year in relation to a potential buyback which was brought to our attention by Insight SJC. The area in question is about 3,800 square metres, so if the proposal goes ahead it'll still leave a residual park of around 5,000 square metres. Ultimately the decision will rest with the state because it has been dedicated as a reserve for park purposes. But clearly, as the report indicates, that the Council's views are likely to be quite significant in the consideration by the state in any final determination. So Council's planners are satisfied that the residual area still would satisfy local needs, with the caveat that the developer has to do consultation to ensure the views of any local residents are taken into account. And I guess the benefit for the Council ultimately is that the contribution of $80,000 can be used to embellish that park, which I think when we looked at it previously was a fairly large area. So the Council's planners are recommending accordingly as the Mayor just outlined, and we'll report back once we've had a final determination from the state.
Thanks, Mr CEO. Does any other councillors wish to raise any queries or speak against the motion? No. All those in favour? Those against? So moved. Next item is 01. It's another lease arrangement. I call Councillor Cooper.
Yes, thank you, Mr Mayor. The recommendation is that one, Council apply the exception contained in section 236 in brackets 1 in brackets C in brackets 3 of the Local Government Regulation 2012 in brackets Queensland, and 2, the Chief Executive Officer be authorised to enter into a 5-year lease with a 5-year option to Lake Ibis Proprietary Limited, ACN 010651760 for the aviation hangar site BF located on lot 35 on SP 254546 at Bundaberg Regional Airport.
Thanks, Councillor Cooper. Can I have a seconder, please? Second is Councillor Honour. Did Councillor Cooper wish to speak further in relation to the motion?
Thanks, Mr Mayor. The Council is the freehold owner of lot 35 on SP 254546 at 3 Avro Avenue, Kensington, known as the Bundaberg Regional Airport. Further to that, Lake Ibis Proprietary Limited, ACN 01085178760, that is, sorry, enter into a lease with the Council for the aviation hangar site BF commencing from the 1st of October 2007 and expiring on the 30th of September 2012 with an additional 5-year option lease. The option was exercised and expired on the 30th of September 2017. The lease was then extended by letter until the 30th of September 2019 and again until the 30th of September 2021. The leasee wishes to enter into a new lease commencing on the 1st of October 2021 for an interval term of 5 years, initial term, of 5 years with a further 5 years option. Rent is for market value and is subject to the annual rental increase of 3%. The leasee is also responsible for 100% of outgoings. It is proposed that the remaining term of the lease will be on the Council's standard lease. Council proposes to apply the exception to the tender to auction requirement contained in section 236 in brackets 1 in brackets C in brackets 3 of the Local Government Regulation 2012 in brackets Queensland, given that the disposal is for the purpose of renewing the lease of the land and any existing tenant of the land, to an existing tenant of the land.
Thanks, Councillor Cooper. Is any other councillors wish to raise any queries or speak against the motion? No. All those in favour? Those against? So moved. The next item is Q1. I call Councillor Honour.
Thank you, Mr Mayor and councillors. I'd like to move the recommendation that Council approves the 2021 to 2023 Bundaberg Regional Council Surveillance Program for prohibited matter and restricted matter in accordance with Section 235 of the Biosecurity Act 2014.
Thought we did.
Very important program.
Yeah, do that.
Yep. Second.
Yep. Second is Councillor Barnes in relation to Q1. Yep. Councillor Honour, you speak further in relation to the motion?
Yes, Mr Mayor. A very important program for the whole Bundaberg region. The Council is required to develop a surveillance program in accordance with Section 235 of the Biosecurity Act 2014. This is a requirement of the Biosecurity Queensland and for councils undertaking the enforcement and monitoring programs for biosecurity matter. This establishes authority for council in undertaking the weeds and pest animal enforcement program with particular regard to assessing properties. Council adopted a biosecurity plan in 2018 to 2023 that provides a strategic approach to managing biosecurity matter in the region. And there is an existing policy and procedural framework in place. The attached 2021 to 23 Bundaberg Regional Council Surveillance Program for prohibited matter and restricted matter has been created in accordance with the Biosecurity Act 2014, of which all rural property owners especially are very familiar with, in particular sections 235 and 236. Mr Mayor, I'd like to just bring it to the notice of the Council and the public that the Biosecurity Act 2014 has specific requirements with regards to the notification of landholders or landowners in accessing their land to implement the surveillance program, and a public notice is also required. Now, I know that council officers do their best to contact landowners. Sometimes that's not possible, and that's why the notifications are in place. As required by the Biosecurity Act 2014, the Chief Executive Officer of Bundaberg Regional Council will give public notice of the program 14 days before the program starts. First, by giving the notice to each government department or government-owned corporation responsible for land in the area to which the program relates, and two, publishing the notice on the Bundaberg Regional Council website. Now, a copy of the program, including its authorisation, will be available for inspection at the Bundaberg Regional Council Public Office at 190 Bourbon Street, that's here where we are today, and the Bundaberg Council Service Centres located at Childers and Gingin. A copy of the program authorisation will be provided on request by calling the 1300 883 699 number. I commend this matter to Council.
Thanks, Councillor. Honour, any other councillors wish to raise any queries or speak against the motion? No. All those in favour? Those against? So moved. I now call item 02. I call Councillor Cooper in relation to the lease matter.
Yep, thank you, Mr Mayor. The recommendation that 1, Council apply the exception contained in section 236 in brackets 1, in brackets C, in brackets 3 of the Local Government Regulation 2012 in brackets Queensland, and 2, the Chief Executive Officer be authorised to enter into a 5-year lease with a 5-year option to Adrian Lionel Robinson, Lynette Ann Robinson, Kenneth and Ian Peterson, and Charlene Marie Peterson for aviation hangar site AH located on lot 35 on SP 254546 at Bundaberg Regional Airport.
Thanks, Councillor Cooper. A second, Councillor Barnes. Councillor Cooper, speak further.
Thanks, Mr Mayor. The background, Council is the freehold owner of lot 35 on SP 254546 at 3 Avro Avenue, Kensington, known as the Bundaberg Regional Airport. Barry John Lang and Diane John Lang, Adrian Lionel and Lynette Ann Robinson entered into a lease with Council for the aviation hangar site AH commencing on the 1st of January 2012 and expired on the 31st December 2016 with the additional 5-year additional lease. The option was exercised and expired on the 31st December 2021. Barry John Lang and Diane Joan assigned their interest to the lease to Kenneth Ian Peterson and Charlene Marie Peterson on the 5th of December 2014. The leasee wishes to enter into a new lease commencing on the 1st of January 2022 for the initial term of 5 years with a further 5 years option. Rent is for the market value and subject to an annual rental increase of 3%. The leasee is also responsible for 100% of outgoings, and it is proposed that the remaining terms of the lease will be the Council standard lease. Council proposes to apply the exception to the tender auction requirement contained in section 236 in brackets 1 in brackets C in brackets 3 of the Local Government Regulation 2012 in brackets Queensland, given that the disposal for the purpose of the renewing the lease of the land to the existing tenant of the land.
Thanks, Councillor Cooper. Any other councillors wish to raise any queries or speak against the motion? No. All those in favour? Those, I'll just do that again. All those in favour? Those against? So moved. The last item is in confidential in nature, so it's item T1. Sorry, Bill, you were there doing Pokemon or something there before. You still on to it? Yeah. Yep. So thank you for those in the gallery for returning, and all councillors. So item T1, I now move that the Chief Executive Officer be authorised to negotiate and enter into a contract of sale with the seller for the purchase of Lot 1 on RP 14530. Can I have a seconder, please? Is Councillor Trevor. I now put the matter to the vote. All those in favour? Those against? So moved. So this brings to conclusion the business of today's meeting. The next ordinary meeting is due to be held on the 31st of August 2021 in Council Chambers here in Bundaberg. Just before closing, I just want to thank everyone for their attendance for the Childers Festival over the last few days, and particularly the main closing of the Bruce Highway on the Sunday. Considering with the COVID times and restrictions, I really want to say a big thank you to the staff here at Bundaberg Regional Council who did a terrific job. Also the Friends of the Festival. Wayne Thompson was recognised for 25 years of service. The sponsors, I normally try not to recognise one particular sponsor, but Pave Rock, the matriarch of the family, is in hospital at the present time, and our thoughts are with the family. But it's been a great achievement over the many years. So thank you all. I now close the meeting at, what time are we meeting? 10:53, and thank you for your attendance. Very good.